What time is it?
Oh, I'm afraid it's that time again.
Hey, quiet! It's time for the Beagle Show.
Why are there so many
podcasts
starring Muppets and dozens of
podcasters?
movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they pledge you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
It's Muppeturmitment, a very special crossover episode about the Beagle Show with Muppeturgy, Matthew, and Sam.
Welcome to Kermitment, where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And I'm David Levy, and it's also Muppeturgy. Here today with me are
Adam Grossworth,
Christy Bauer,
and Michael Richardson.
Is this a crossover episode? No, I'm just kidding around, man.
Well, Kermitment listeners could remember that in our most recent birthday episode, we watched episodes of the TV shows Lost on Earth, which surprisingly will come up again later, and the Mr. Potato Head Show. And even though we didn't really enjoy either of those shows, Sam and I talked about how it might be fun to discuss more non-Henson puppet shows.
And I heard that episode right around the time we were figuring out what our first season of Phase 2 would include. And so I reached out about joining forces to discuss a failed pilot of a show we suspect most of our listeners have never heard of. And speaking of things our listeners have never heard of, we should probably introduce ourselves to each other's listeners, even though we've already all been on, or some of us have been on each other's shows in years past. I was on Kermitment in August of 2022 to talk about the Muppets comic strip.
That's so much longer ago than I would have guessed.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and we were on Muppeturgy that same month to talk about the Loretta Lynn episode of The Muppet Show.
What is this, a crossover episode?
You know, that gets funnier every time.
You're being sarcastic, but I think it does actually get funnier every time.
And if you don't know anything about Kermitment, as our Apple podcast description says, we are a show about two friends, me and my friend Matthew Gatos. We've made the most intimate and unbreakable pledge that two people can make, which is to watch every single piece of Muppet-related media that we possibly can in chronological order. So basically, like I just said, Matt mostly, digs through the internet. He finds clips. He finds episodes. He makes us huge spreadsheets because we want to see every single Muppet thing that has ever been recorded so we can truly understand what was going on in their heads. We're 203 episodes in, I think, at this point. I feel like it's been extremely rewarding and extremely distressing and tiring, and thinking about how much longer it's going to take is scary. But we have so far watched and discussed everything that there is to discuss from 1955 through 1989, and we're so close to 1990, but we just never seem to make it there.
Well, fortunately, nothing important happens in 1990.
Yeah.
Yikes. Indeed.
That's a Jim Henson death joke
soon?
for anyone who didn't get it.
Too soon.
I feel like the listeners of either of these podcasts definitely got it.
I would hope so.
Yeah, and they're already spoiled for it.
Yeah, spoiler alert for the life of Jim Henson.
And we are four friends who pledged to watch all of The Muppet Show. And we did that. Hooray! We give a deep dive into each episode of The Muppet Show and also what was going on in the world the week the episode aired. We give background on the songs and also our pedantic dramaturgical feelings about how the Muppets should have been producing their show differently. And even though we did not make any initial commitment or commitment to keep the podcast going after we finished, we like making the show, so we're still at it. And we've been keeping a list of some truly batshit nonsense that is adjacent to The Muppet Show. And now we're making episodes about it. Like the Star Wars Holiday Special, and Sandy Duncan at Disneyland, and this, whatever this is.
Well, normally at this point in a Kermitment episode, I would probably introduce a question to kick off a bit of conversation. Usually it's one I've never, told Sam about, usually catching him off guard. Sometimes that's distressing to him. Sometimes it's a fun conversation. But I figured today, before we get into the main event of the episode, since there are a lot of us here, and we'll probably have plenty of lively discussions already, I wanted to use this time to highlight a few of the puppeteers who worked on this special, because while some of them may have only worked on this and nothing ever again, there's one particular puppeteer who I think we could devote an entire episode to just her work. But I wanted to call out a few of them just to highlight their other work outside of, again, whatever this is.
Speaking of distressing.
So first up on the list, I'm not going through all the puppeteers because, as I said, a lot of them only worked on this and nothing else ever again. But somebody who did work on something else is Judy Anderson, who also worked on one episode of Lamb Chop's Play Along. So
just the one, huh?
Just the one.
Interesting.
Yeah. Second one is Pat Brymer. He also did a bunch of Lamb Chop and also apparently created an updated version of Lamb Chop when they started Lamb Chop's Play Along. So built a brand new Lamb Chop.
Oh, I thought you meant like he made a new show with Lamb Chop with like sunglasses on.
Oh, like a cool, like, edgy 90s Lamb Chop?
Hat back. Yeah.
No.
So I found bios for all these people too. Judy Anderson, in addition to Lamb Chop, on her bio lists that she did things with Jim Henson and the Disney Channel, but doesn't say what those things were.
Okay.
So just, I don't think she was just like a one and done puppeteer.
Yeah.
And Pat, this may be a generational thing, but at least the thing that caught my eye is that he was the puppeteer who was the gopher in Caddyshack.
Whoa. That's huge.
There's like a generational line. I think there's two things in his bio that'll get a reaction. One, gopher from Caddyshack. Two, principal puppeteer on Team America World Police.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
See, there we go.
I've never thought of that puppet as the gopher from Caddyshack as a puppet.
What did you think
it was a real gopher?
Real guy. I thought
really
he was
well trained.
I guess I thought a robot, maybe.
More on that
robot,
in a minute.
Yeah, robot gopher technology, I think, was not up to snuff back then.
I suppose, yeah.
But I think, not that we're ranking puppeteers here on this podcast, but I will say the most impressive of the bunch is Terry Hardin, who is both Disney and Jim Henson / Muppets / puppeteering royalty, essentially. She created the McNugget puppets and puppeteered them from 1982 to 1986.
The way Sam's face just lit up.
Oh, yeah. That one I included specifically because I knew those McNugget puppets were a favorite of Sam's.
Yes. Okay.
She also was a puppeteer on Ghostbusters, helping to puppeteer the Demon Dogs, the Ghost Librarian at the beginning of the movie, and the face of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
That's a puppet movie.
Nice.
I never thought of that as a
Yeah,
puppet
I didn't
movie.
either, but of course it is.
That's a puppet movie.
We're just extending the life of Muppeturgy right now is what we're doing. It's just adding cool things you can watch.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, we have a good reason to talk about this now.
No, we only watch garbage now.
Fine, Ghostbusters 2.
Oh, don't get Christy started.
Don't get me started.
We don't have
It's the
time for
best
this.
One. It's the best one. I will die on this hill. Okay.
You
We
will
can
die on
make
a
that
hill
episode.
alone, but I appreciate your passion.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't get into it. The only thing I don't like about Ghostbusters 2 is that they all have to get brought back together in the beginning. I think the rest of it's great. I just hate things where it's like, we're not friends anymore, and then they spend so much time getting back together. I love the painting guy. He's cool. I think he's amazing. Good bad guy.
The next time we do a collab podcast like this, we should start it off as if we have all hated each other in the meantime, and we had to come back together to make a podcast
Yeah.
We're
to
all
save
doing
the
odd
world.
jobs.
Perfect.
Yeah, me and Matt are podcasting. We're podcasting at parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a weird talk show about podcasts.
My favorite fun fact about the first Ghostbusters is that it was released the day I was born.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, as was Gremlins.
You're
Good day for the movies.
Ghostbusters years old.
I am Ghostbusters years old.
Nice.
Wow.
Well, the fabulous Terry Hardin didn't stop there. She also worked as a Disney Imagineer for a while. My favorite fun fact about this is, as an Imagineer, her first gig was that she was asked to make new non-cloth, non-absorbent vomit seats for Star Tours.
Oh.
Because they had basically like a cloth cover on them originally, and every
Yeah.
time somebody threw up, they had to take them off to clean them and then put them back on.
Ugh.
So
I've
she
almost
sculpted.
thrown up on that ride a lot of times.
Yeah,
Well,
same.
if
Yeah,
you
who
did,
among us?
And it was easily cleaned up. You can thank Terry Hardin because she sculpted a seat that could fit buttocks, but was shaped to gather the liquids that might end up on the seat.
What a career.
Like with a drain?
I hate it.
We're not even done, Sam, because she sculpted the model for Brer Fox on Splash Mountain, which you can't see anymore. But, you know, yeah. But also on Muppet Vision, she was the puppeteer for the It's a Small World dolls at the ensemble at the end of the film. Mm-hmm. She also did the original puppetry movements for the Penguin Orchestra that were then recorded and used for the audio animatronics.
Whoa.
Nice.
Yeah. Again, still not done. Terry Hardin worked for the Jim Henson Company for over 30 years, worked on dinosaurs, the Flintstones, the Country Bears. She puppeteered Baby Sinclair's arms on dinosaurs. She was the puppeteer of Dino's hands and tongue on the Flintstones.
Wow.
And only for, the people who have watched this terrible show, like we did on Kermitment, she was also the puppeteer for Angela on Lost on Earth, the forgotten puppet show where she is just a horny, sexy lady
the
puppet.
The scariest one of all of them, too.
Yep. The one who is real horny for the human man who...
Yeah.
Yep, it's a show I wouldn't recommend watching.
If the show had kept going, they would have had sex. I
They
know
would have
that
had
they would have.
Terrible, horrible babies, I'm sure. But yeah, that's Terry Hardin, who I feel like, kudos to Terry Hardin for just having one of the coolest careers I've ever heard of.
Yeah, well done.
That's a perfect segue, actually, to our correction.
I have a feeling that we have perhaps misunderstood the question.
On the Sandy and Disneyland episode, we referred to audio animatronics as robots. This is apparently offensive to robots. We regret the error and welcome our robot overlords.
I'm just curious who got mad about that.
No one did,
you.
but David posted something on Blue Sky. Is this offensive? He was joking, and somebody replied, "It's not offensive, but it's extremely wrong," which sent me Googling. The explanation I found is that animatronics are technically puppets, right? They are programmed with movements to do one thing and one thing only, whereas robots are autonomous. But there are plenty of non-autonomous robots. Like, a robot arm in a factory is in fact programmed to do a single task.
That's doing the same exact thing as audio animatronics.
Yeah.
So maybe our cars are made by puppets.
There's
This
no
is
robots in the
possible.
world. There's only puppets.
Yeah.
And if there was a robot Abe Lincoln at Disneyland, it would run amok.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has, but that's another story for another time. Anyway, so yeah, I don't really buy that explanation, but then I had to go back to work, so I stopped looking. But that's like one of the first results if you Google what is the difference between audio animatronic and a robot. So there you go.
All right.
Here is a Muppet News Flash.
I don't think we've actually said this yet. This week, this month, whatever it is, we are talking about the Beagle show.
God help us all.
God help us all. This was a co-production of Hanna-Barbera, best known for many, many, many cartoons you've definitely seen, even if you are a very young person, I assume, and CTV and British Columbia Television. Took 2 people to write this, took 3 production companies to make this. But yes, very Canadian. It aired in Canada on November 22nd, 1979, per IMDb. It allegedly aired in syndication in the United States. There were a couple of New York air dates that we found on the internet, neither of which I could verify in the New York Times. It's not clear what time it aired in syndication, maybe 3 a.m. We don't know. So for our news this week, I'm going to go with that Canada air date, which seems somewhat true. November 22nd, 1979. This was in between the Liza Minnelli and Lola Falana episodes of The Muppet Show. So we have covered this ground. So I'm going to just do this quickly. In the news, the Iran hostage crisis is still going on. The oil/energy crisis is still going on. Premier stuns South Africa by moves to relax apartheid. And there's this great quote in the article, under the influence of army generals who advocate changes in racial policy as a hedge against revolution. It's as good a reason as any, whatever it takes. Because we love to talk about American political dynasties, former Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau resigns as party leader. So not the most recent one, his dad. Toys, canned pumpkin, and Pepto-Bismol recalled. These are unrelated, but the headline definitely makes it sound
like the same thing was in all of them.
Yeah, you're eating your toys and then chasing with Pepto-Bismol because it's a bad idea. In movies, a lot of things we've talked about before. 10, Al Pacino in And Justice for All, Alan Arkin in The Magician of Lublin, which we have not talked about before, Yasha is a Jewish stage magician who tours through Eastern Europe while destroying his career through personal problems. He has one more chance at theatrical success, but he needs to do a brand new trick in a Warsaw theater. This actually sounds great, and I need to track it down and watch
I'm
it.
fascinated.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah. Alan Arkin, what could be bad? The Who's Quadrophenia is in theaters. The Runner Stumbles, and the poster is sometimes ... The Runner Stumbles, which actually made me really unclear of what the title of the movie really was.
Mm-hmm.
Dick Van Dyke, Kathleen Quinlan, Maureen Stapleton, Ray Bolger, Tammy Grimes, and Beau Bridges. The poster says...
Is it a musical?
Well, it gets weirder. The poster says, in the spring, he knew he was in love with her. In the winter of that same year, he was on trial for her murder.
Oh, great.
IMDb
Great.
says,
Whoa.
a priest in a poor mining town struggles with his controversial work while dealing with his impoverished parish, difficult nuns at the local convent, and personal doubts. So I feel like the
Where's
IMDb
the
description is
murder?
probably wrong.
Yeah, where's the murder?
Where's the song and dance?
Where's
Yeah.
the runner?
That's his controversial work.
Where's
Yes,
the band?
murdering women.
Yeah. Also, I feel like we should add the word sometimes ellipses to every movie poster from now on.
Sometimes.
Sometimes
10.
Dune.
Well, the remaining movies on my list are sometimes Apocalypse Now, sometimes The Rose, sometimes Rocky 2, and a little film called The Muppet Movie. Little art house thing that never heard of. In theater, a lot of our faves: A Chorus Line, Annie, Danson, Evita, The Elephant Man, Sweeney Todd, Peter Pan, starring Sandy Duncan,
Nice.
and Mummenschanz is on Broadway somehow.
Hmm.
In the Cashbox Pop Charts, the number one song is Still by the Commodores, and the number one album...
Still by the Commodores. The Commodores.
And the number one album is sometimes The Long Run by the Eagles. Don't threaten me with a running gag. On television, the most important place to be. CBS had The Waltons and a TV movie called Letters from Frank with Art Carney, Maureen Stapleton, Mike Farrell, Margaret Hamilton, Lou Ayres, and Michael J. Fox. After being forced to retire, a man fights back is the description there.
Michael J. Fox must have been a little baby.
I was thinking about that, yeah.
ABC had Laverne and Shirley, Benson, Barney Miller, Soap, and 2020, which at this point still featured Geraldo Rivera. NBC, this is my favorite, and I'm furious at Peacock for no longer having this show on it. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, episode Cosmic Whiz Kid. Gary, frozen in the 20th century, defrosted 5 centuries later, and made president of Genesia. Now, Buck has to rescue the little jive talker from evil abductors. Yes, President Hieronymus Fox was played by Gary Coleman.
Wow.
Amazing.
Also featuring Ray Walston as Roderick Zale.
This has to be somewhere. Can we add it to the
We gotta
list?
find it. We
It
gotta
has
put
to
it
be
on the
somewhere.
list.
We should add to the list. There's also, so I know that Buck Rogers used to be on Peacock because I have watched the Jerry Orbach episode where he manages a cosmic rock band, which we could also put on the list.
Oh my god.
But yeah, they pulled it. I'm really mad. I was like all set to watch this before we recorded,
Mm-hmm.
but not to actually look for it any harder than that. Anyway, that was followed by Quincy M.E., and this is my other favorite thing this week. Kate Loves a Mystery, a show which ran for 13 episodes over 2 seasons, and in that time had 4 titles. It began as Mrs. Columbo, and was later called Kate Columbo and Kate the Detective, and finally, Kate Loves a Mystery. This was the spinoff of Columbo, but apparently nobody involved with Columbo actually wanted this to
They
happen.
disowned it, yeah.
And they
hated
disowned it,
it.
and Peter Falk never appeared on it. And Kate Mulgrew was only 24 years old when this show debuted, and she was 12 when Columbo debuted. And yes, he does discuss his wife in the first episode. So...
Is she still married to
Gross.
him in the show?
No, they're divorced in the show. It's a real shame.
Are they
How many
divorced the whole
episodes have
time?
you seen, Sam?
I think they must. I think they divorced. I've never seen it, but I've read I've read because Kate Mulgrew and Columbo. Come on,
Yeah.
But I've read the description of it. I don't know that they're divorced the whole time. I think maybe I thought that they were, but maybe they're not. But they do eventually get divorced. Which Columbo and his wife would never get divorced. They love each other so much.
How would we know? We've never seen them together.
They go on a cruise together, but we don't see them together. But he does talk to her off screen. They love each other. They love each other.
Okay, well, she had
They're
to...
always talking about each other.
You can tell from the tone in Peter Falk's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, am I reading correctly in the notes that the pilot of Columbo was titled Prescription Murder?
Yes, prescription colon murder, to be precise.
Which,
Sometimes.
don't you have to have a diagnosis murder before you can have a prescription murder?
Well, we eventually got diagnosis murder.
I hope it's the same showrunner who's like, I can't escape this great idea that I have.
Prognosis murder.
It depends on the colon. After diagnosis, colon murder. What kind of prescription for colon? Never mind.
Doc, I got colon murder. Help me.
Anyway, PBS. Previously discussed, Dick Cavett guests are the company of Off-Broadway's Scrambled Feet, also previously discussed, but apparently Madeline Kahn was not one of the guests.
Oh.
And then an adaptation of The Scarlet Letter. That's enough out of me. Sam, why don't you tell us what we watched this week?
We watched the B.B. Beagle Show. Original air date, November 22nd, 1979. The B.B. Beagle Show is a puppet-based variety show that answers the question, what does the Muppet Show look like in the evil mirror Star Trek universe and all the characters chain-smoked? Join your host, B.B. Beagle, a lecherous, spotlight-hogging oaf of a dog, as he leads an uncanny crew of animal puppets through several flaccid acts starring this week's guest stars, Three's Company's Joyce DeWitt, whom BB, his name just sucks so fucking B.B. Beagle.
And he wears a T-shirt with his name on it.
No one should watch this. Beagle is spelled Beegle. He is a dog. He is somewhat Beagle-esque.
Yeah.
But like, why to all of this?
Okay, so the guests are Three's Company's Joyce DeWitt, who BB insinuates he has a sexual relationship with throughout the show, and Laughlin's Artie Johnson. Is he the guy who says, very interesting? Is that him? Okay,
Ironically.
You'll note he doesn't ever say it in this episode.
He gets really, I feel like he just wants to so bad, though. Joining BB is an all-star cast, including Zula, the power mad stage manager, Slick, the flasher rat, who also seems to be BB Beagle's best friend, Marty the alligator, who's not that bad, actually. I liked Marty. And Bubbles, a giant, nightmarish hell beast that appears out of thin air to swallow its victims alive. Statler and Waldorf are played by two beefy scumbags watching the show in a diner who take turns beating the shit out of a rat that I think is named Ratchy? Is that his name?
Ratsy.
Ratsy, not Ratchy. Okay. So they do all the normal 70s variety show stuff, like put on terrible skits and struggle through songs. There are a couple of light plots that run throughout the episode. So Zula, who is dating the producer of the show, tries to sabotage BB and get her own acts on stage, basically. She just hates BB. Everybody hates BB Beagle, but she hates him especially. And BB hits on Joyce DeWitt to no avail before turning into his alter ego, a French Zorro ladies' man named the Masked Masher. And in the end, Joyce intimates that she knows that BB is the Masked Masher. It's kind of a Spider-Man Black Cat thing where she doesn't like him when he's not the Masked Masher. And Marty, the alligator, locks Zula up in a safe and feeds her to Bubbles, the Lovecraftian nightmare. And then I assume all the puppets were boxed up and thrown in a dumpster behind Hanna-Barbera Studios.
And set on fire, hopefully.
I did have fire involved in the original draft of this, but
I know your brain.
That's too much effort. I think they probably just went, eh.
So I'm sorry. I would die for Bubbles.
Bubbles is the best.
Bubbles is
by far.
I really was like, I was so they introduced this watchword, which they introduce by having Slick the rat open up his trench coat like he's a flasher, and he does this throughout the thing to like talk. Basically, he has a sign on his chest that says the watchword, which is very similar to Pee-wee's secret word, except so I was expecting them to like ring a bell or do a dance or like something would fall, and they were like, you never know what's gonna happen when somebody says the watchword, which is nuts. And then when somebody says the watchword, a ghoul appears out of nowhere that's like 8 times bigger than every other guy, and it eats people alive. It's horrible.
It's amazing.
See, that's fun. It's fun until it's like, oh, you know what's wrong with this female character? Everything. Let's feed her to the monster.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know, I thought the monster maybe is also female. Maybe that's just...
I do love that the name is Bubbles.
The name Bubbles, but
I
also...
got that vibe off of the monster, too.
It looks a lot like Heidi from Meet the Feebles, if Heidi was a Lovecraftian monster, not just a regular hippopotamus.
Yes.
Yeah, a regular hippopotamus.
It's like Heidi plus the Toxic Avenger, I think is right.
Oh, you guys got to do Feebles on here.
Oh.
I don't know that I can get the rest of them to sit through it.
Oh, you
That's a movie that
shouldn't.
made-
But I
That's a
feel
movie
like
that
you
made
have
that's a
to.
movie that
I feel like
Michal,
you
I
have
think,
to.
literally could not watch. I don't think she would make it to the end.
Michal is a delicate flower.
I've tried. I couldn't get through it.
Maybe it's more of an endurance challenge. You do a live commentary to see
Yeah,
who can
we
last
could
the
see who
longest.
Taps out.
Ooh.
This gave me feeble feelings because it had the same grime. Everything's just coated in grime, and all the puppets look like they smell so bad.
I mean, that's partly just that it's a bad transfer, I think, because that main set looks very.
It's also their personalities, I feel like.
Yeah,
All of
yeah.
them suck a lot.
They
Yeah.
suck.
The whole concept here is like if you took a season 1 episode of The Muppet Show and then just like turned up the like nasty lever. So like everyone's a little meaner, a little dirtier, a little sexier, like not
Yeah.
sexy in a like I want to fuck them kind of way, but sexy in like
Horny.
that's all they talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even the orchestrations of the songs have like a disco porn
Yes. Totally.
like walking bass line where I'm like, what? Why are we?
Well, and in one of them, Joyce DeWitt's like taking off clothes, and the camera is framed like right at her cleavage, and so it looks like she's just actually taking off her clothes during this.
Right.
And
But then, haha, she's not. Like that's the joke in the
Yeah.
biggest air quotes possible. Like I did not like this, but I do feel like I understood it, and I don't think I could have said that 5 years ago.
Ooh,
Like
interesting.
Right. I get how this happened. And okay, so I sort of wish we were doing an episode on this, but we're not. At the beginning of season 3 of Muppeturgy and the Muppet Show, we were sort of doing our rundown of the TV seasons, and there was a quickly canceled show called the Hanna-Barbera Variety Hour.
Happy Hour.
Hanna-Barbera Happy Hour. And at the time, I read the description and I lamented that I could not watch this. Since then, a hero has added one episode of this show to YouTube. So
But only one, and not the one I want.
only one. So I don't know if you all watch this. Michal and I both watch this, and it's also not good, but like better. And it ran for 5 episodes, so like it wasn't a total failure, unlike this basically unaired pilot, which was. And so like I see the through line of like this is peak variety show, right? It's 79. The variety show bubble is about to burst. It is peak Muppet Show. They tried this and it wasn't an abject failure, and so they thought we should try that again. And the spin is like, oh, but it's fully for adults. It's dirty.
But the difference is the Hanna-Barbera Happy Hour has puppets in it, but it's not a puppet show.
Right.
It's
right.
much more like a variety show that happens to have puppet hosts.
Exactly.
Whereas
Yeah.
this is a puppet variety show.
Right.
Yeah, that was a sketch show variety show, and they did a disco 42nd Street for some reason, and that was fantastic.
I did not make it that far.
Oh,
Also, those
I dug
puppets
it.
are cool. Like these puppets, I actually I like Bubbles, and I think BB is cute, but like they're not at the same level, even of the puppets on the other Hanna-Barbera show, which are not at the level of the Muppets, although they're different and interesting. Also, yeah, they're different and interesting. They're doing something different and interesting on the Happy Hour. And this just feels like very ripped off. The lip sync is bad.
Yeah.
The sets, it's like, it's so puppet showy. Like there's a wall everywhere. And I'm like, the Muppets figured out how to get around this years ago. Like,
Yeah.
forced perspective, camera angles. Like you don't actually have to build a wall to hide your puppeteers. It just all felt very amateur. And they're all dubbed, right? At least some of them.
Yeah, I
The
think they're
puppeteers are
all
not-
dubbed.
Yeah, which just leads to a real disconnect sometimes.
Well, that's because it was originally filmed in Canadian and they had to dub it into English.
Maybe that's why it hurt so much with because the lip syncing was
lip syncing is really bad.
it was upsetting. And like the puppets aren't terrible. BB could be cute, but like I think that it was everything else, like the sleaze was turned up and the puppeteering was turned down.
Yeah.
Like they did okay. They did, about as well as any of us could do being Muppet enthusiasts and putting a puppet up in front of a camera if we didn't have any training. And then like now that I've taken a few puppeteering classes, I'm like, I think I could actually do a little better than those professional
Yeah.
puppeteers did.
Except as
yeah.
we talked about, like some of these puppeteers are real puppeteers.
After.
Everything
we listed happens after this.
They
Right,
caught
so
the
like
bug
I'm watching them and thinking
from
if they
BB.
had some training with people who have done television puppeteering before, they could be better puppeteers and this would be a more pleasant experience. But instead, BB's looking everywhere except at the camera. He's moving too much. He's not a charismatic host partly because he's written really annoyingly, but
He's
also because
awful.
the puppeteer has not yet learned how to make a charismatic puppet.
Well, I think Marty, the alligator, too, was one for me where a couple times the lip sync was so bad because it felt like the puppeteer kept going after a line had ended. Like they thought there was a couple more words, but they just kept going and they just like left that shot in the special, didn't do a second take. And it's like, he stopped talking a few words ago. You can stop moving the puppet, please.
It's weird too, because like I think BB is actually adorable, and like his eye mechanism is kind of great.
Yeah, he has a cute little eyebrow mechanism.
Right,
It's
like
cute.
the Bubbles is really cool looking, and then like I'm sorry, the girl, I don't remember her name.
Zula.
Thank you, Zula, and like the random polar bear we haven't even mentioned yet. Like just look like shit. Like they're not good puppets. And
Zula's a sock, basically.
Yeah.
and the
fox is pretty bad too. The
Yeah.
fox's
At what
stick
point the
arms are
fox's
bad.
tail moves away from its body? Like
There's
you
a
can
fox?
see. Yeah, there's a fox on the party line segment.
And she's kind of maybe
Oh,
like
yeah,
in
yeah.
the intro, she kind of seems like she's gonna be the Miss Piggy, but she done got the sex appeal
Yes.
of Miss Piggy. Are you kidding me?
In the opening montage, it looks like it's like a dressing room, and she's looking
Yeah.
like doing like a sexy move, and you're like, "That's the Miss Piggy." And then
Yeah.
she has the smallest, most useless part, maybe in
Yeah.
the entire thing.
we'll get to her.
Yeah.
And some of them are ugly on purpose. Like the guys in the diner, I do kind of love the rat also, but the guys, he doesn't look like a rat.
The
But he's
rat
really
was
cute.
good. I liked the rat a lot.
Yeah. But the guys in the diner are like deliberately ugly,
Yeah.
which okay, but like there's no consistency in the design. Like say what you will about Muppet, you know, you can look at a Muppet and you know it's a Muppet. Like right, there's
I thought the best looking ones were the monsters and the uglies. Is that what that was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
the
were
family of
consistent.
monsters.
They built a
But they looked
world
pretty
within
good.
that sketch that made sense.
yeah.
They should have just made that show. They should have made their Addams Family ripoff with puppets instead of their Muppet Show ripoff.
Yeah, this reminded me of the televisual equivalent of, you know how like in the 90s you could buy perfume knockoffs that were like, if you love Calvin Klein's Obsession, or if you like Calvin Klein's Obsession, you'll love Stalker. And it would just like, and it would like sort of for like 2 seconds smell like the thing it's supposed to smell like, and then it would just have this like carcinogenic chemical stink to it.
Yes.
That
This
is
show
what
was
this
stinky.
was.
This was a
It's
stinky,
stinky.
stinky show. You're right.
I think amateur, though, is such a great word for it because there's so many parts throughout where, yeah, the puppets are messing up lip sync or they're coming apart. There's a really bad jump cut that doesn't need to happen in this that really bothered me because I'm like, the Muppet Show would never, or at least would do it more successfully. And so it just felt like from especially, you know, a company like Hanna-Barbera, I know so little about their work, but like their work that I do know about, I look back on fondly. And so I feel like
It was cheapo though, man.
It is weird, yeah, because like one of the cliches about Hanna-Barbera is that like in Scooby-Doo, for example, there are quite a lot of chase scenes, and if you watch them, you can tell that it's like one panel of background just looping over and over again, and so is the running anime, right? They're running and like, you know, it's just so they're sort of known for being cheap but also good, right?
Yeah.
Like the art,
The writing, like the writing.
yeah,
and
the
the
writing
character
and
design and the
the voice performances, like all of that was. I mean, it's their classics, right? Scooby-Doo, Flintstones, Jetsons.
Well, and the character development, like that's the thing that makes this the hardest to believe as a Hanna-Barbera property, is that we spent a half hour with these characters and we really don't know anything about them.
Yeah. But somehow everybody in the world knows everything about Yogi Bear. So yeah, that is a good point. Like they have some of the most easily describable characters, and then BB Beagle, who's
Yeah.
just a fucking asshole.
That was one of the most frustrating things about this, was that they were trying to make BB Beagle, but trying to make BB Beagle happen to begin with,
Yeah,
but like trying
right,
to make him be too many things, like be a host and be kind of a Bugs Bunny trickster shapeshifter, and also to like do the mummy sketch, and like he didn't have any charisma or personality to begin with, so he can't do all of those things, and probably not even one of those things. And yeah, tried to make Zula be too many things. They tried to plop us into a world that they hadn't built.
Did anyone like it at all? Like, it sounds like we all kind of disliked it pretty strongly.
It sounds like I maybe hated it the least, but no, I didn't like it.
I think I like agree that some of the puppets looked cool and would like to see a successful version of this, but I think BB made me I had such a negative reaction to him as a character that I could not have liked it if he existed in it, because he was just disgusting. He was like the worst. I don't know. He was like the worst parts of Kermit and Miss Piggy like combined. I don't know. I just hated him so much. But I did really like the rat that get beat up. I thought he was cute. I actually really loved the Flasher rat. He was probably my favorite. I liked how they had so many eye mechanisms in the puppets too. I think that like went a long way to make them look a little bit more passable, but I loved just like him opening his thing and like looking back and forth, and the completely wild thought process that must have gone into like, this is his right-hand man. He's a flashing rat. I couldn't possibly imagine what they were thinking.
Flashers were very big in 79, so I sort of get it.
But to have it be your best friend.
But also, like, if BB's defining trait is that he's sort of a lech, like, who is he going to hang out with? Well,
I suppose that makes
But then
sense.
he's also like a little cutie pie sometimes. So, like, it's a weird, it's confusing.
And
like,
his mom is there.
And his mom
his
is there.
mom hates him.
And she's yelling, bring back the Flasher. She loves the Flasher.
I think it's useful to remember that Henson and company also failed at this twice. But, like, the Sex and Violence and the Valentine special are both so much better than this. In part because, like, you can tell that they have really thought through what they're doing. And even though it doesn't work, you can sort of see the intention behind it. And, of course, the puppets are great and the puppetry is great. And, you know, Jerry Jewell good at his job. Like, there are jokes. Right? The Valentine special gave us Droop. If it did nothing else, it gave us Droop. and like, there's none of that in this to latch onto.
Well, and I'm watching silently the Happy Hour as we're talking, and that is so much more lively. Like,
it's very visually appealing.
Yes.
They're so cool. Yeah.
Well, and the camera moves and the sets are cool, and
that crazy alien band with like the weird drummer on the top. What's the episode you wish was posted?
Oh, what was it? It was
Twiggy,
Gary
What About the
Berghoff,
Places?
and Tony Randall.
Oh,
all in the
wild
same
combination.
episode.
Yeah,
we'll put this in the on our show page, and maybe we'll do an episode about it someday because I think it's kind of worth watching. But for now, we're doing this.
I've thought a lot this week about, because I just recorded an episode of Moving Right Along, about 2 minutes of Muppets from Space, and between this and Steve Whitmire's statement about what makes the Muppets, and what makes Kermit, and then watching this, and to be perfectly frank, I did not care for Muppets from Space when I rewatched it in preparation for it. I know. I loved it in the 90s. I watched it many times in the 90s, and now I've revisited it and have lots of quibbles with it. But watching this in the context of everything else that I've been thinking about this week has made me see if it's possible to synthesize. And I mean, it's everything. What made the Muppet Show and Muppet Show era Muppets the specific lightning in a bottle that they were. And it's hard to distill. Like, it's not just, oh, Jim Henson was alive. And like, oh, it's because Jim Henson was a magical genius. It is that, but it's also everything else. And like, they had people who knew how to design the Muppets and knew how to write for the Muppets. And there was vision behind it. Like, there was a personality and a statement to be made.
And they were a troupe of people who had a whole sort of group ethos, right? Like, this very much feels like a couple guys wrote a script and then a bunch of people who had nothing to do with them had to go put it on, and because they were earning a paycheck, and then they went home and never thought about it again.
Yeah. And now for some reason we're thinking about it. I'm sure they never imagined in their wildest
Why are we thinking
dreams.
about this? Someone recommended this to us, right?
I think that Tough Pig's Canadian friend Grant suggested this, and it went on our list.
And so it did.
Yeah.
So thanks, Grant.
Yeah, we know who to blame.
So the other thing that's going on in this episode is that there are also 2 guest stars. So let's talk about
Introduce our guest star, that's what I'm here to do. So it really makes me happy to introduce to you.
We are an hour in.
So, well, that's what makes this a Kermitment episode. So, like I said, part of the shtick of the show is that they do everything the Muppet Show does, but like turn up the dial a little bit. So instead of having 1 guest star, we have 2 guest stars. And the first one is Joyce DeWitt.
We've got a really special show for you tonight with a guest star that is not only talented and gorgeous, and one of the stars of Three's Company, but also a very close personal friend of mine, Miss Joyce DeWitt.
Excuse me, Bibi, but I'm not a close personal friend of yours. As a matter of fact, I've never even met you before.
What a disgusting man.
So I've got to be real with you. Joyce DeWitt played Janet on the sitcom Three's Company from 1977 to 1984, and she hasn't really done anything else worth mentioning. I say this with no disrespect. She is great on Three's Company, and it sounds like it was her choice to step away from acting after the show ended. Although, if you're not familiar with Three's Company, there were 3 stars, and she was the least popular of the 3. And I was trying to think of, I was trying to think of like who, like an equivalent today, and I couldn't come up with a contemporary reference, but like, I don't know, who's the worst friends? It'd be like if Ross was the guest star.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, is Ross? I didn't really work.
Who would be the other
I do think Ross is generally considered the worst friend.
Who could be any other candidate for the worst friend but Ross? Like, nobody else comes close.
I mean, I guess it depends on the criteria. Like, are we saying as far as an entertaining character? Are we saying an actual friend to the other friends on Friends?
Yes,
I mean,
and
like
yes.
the person you'd want to see guest starring on another show.
This CCM, this is what we need. We need other people around to tell us to stop it.
Stop talking.
That's how we end up with 3-hour recordings.
We would be talking about Friends for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, and then you'd cut it all out anyways. You'd cut it all out of the episode.
I wouldn't cut Friends talk out of the episode, man. You know that.
So Joyce DeWitt eventually did come back to show business about a decade after leaving. She has acted on stage and on TV and in a bunch of movies that didn't make enough of an impact to get their own Wikipedia pages, and appeared on the occasional game show, but none of that really rose to the level of like, let's talk about this in detail on the podcast. She is still alive. She's 76 years old. Does anyone have Joyce DeWitt memories? Adam does.
I think this says a lot about who I was as a child. But like, Three's Company, right? I grew up in the golden age of reruns. Wasn't even Nick at Night. They were just on TV. You come from school and would watch a 10-year-old sitcom. And so Janet was basically the straight woman. I mean, she was funny and she's allowed to be funny, right? But like, Chrissy was the dumb one and Jack was John Ritter and the slapstick and stuff. And I just always related to Janet. I just thought she was great. I think Joyce DeWitt was great on that show. And really, like, sort of looking back on it now, I realize like she was holding, like, of those 3 people, like she had to be like the solid center and have all those jokes like play off of her. I really think she was great on it.
Just like Ross.
Just like Ross. No, not just like Ross. But I do also identify pretty strongly with Ross, so it's all coming together. Yeah, I just think there's something.
Is your favorite Peanut character Linus?
Is yours not? Is that weird?
Whoa!
What the heck?
I will
just
not
like
stand.
diagnose something.
I will not stand for this slander of Linus.
Yeah, I feel like that is definitely, like, Linus is better than Ross.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite Peanuts character is in fact Lucy, who is obviously the Monica of Peanuts. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. I just like have strong childhood associations of loving her on that show. I've never seen her do anything else until now, and I wish I hadn't. But I did always really like her.
She's
this is
cute
really
here.
the only other thing you've ever seen Joyce DeWitt in?
She hasn't really done it. I mean, unless you happen to catch her on Hollywood Squares or something.
Right.
I mean, yeah, probably at some point in my childhood I saw her on something else, but like I don't remember it.
She does a good job in this. They don't give her much, and she does fine.
It's not
with
her
it.
fault.
Is she good at singing?
I thought she sang okay.
I can never tell
She's
when people are good or bad
okay.
at singing. Okay.
She was better than I expected her to be for someone who like didn't do any other professional singing.
I get kind of a Didi Khan vibe from her when she sings.
Did it really bother you that BB Beagle walked up and interrupted every single musical number she had, except for that one at the end?
No, I was grateful because it meant they stopped.
Okay.
So there's a second guest star, even though he doesn't get the guest star billing or treatment, and that's Artie Johnson. Weirdly, Artie Johnson had more of a career than Joyce DeWitt, but his career was also defined by one hugely successful television show, Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. He appeared on the entire run of the show from 1968 to 1973, and he had 2 real big signature characters. One was Tyrone Horneye, who was the dirty old man who hilariously sexually harassed Ruth Buzzy's Gladys Umfby. And the other was the German soldier Wolfgang, who is best known by his catchphrase.
Very interesting.
Who, as Matt pointed out to us before the show, Also ended up doing that character as a recurring bit on Sesame Street after Laugh-In or during Laugh-In.
Which is one of my favorite Muppet Wiki research notes I've ever found. I found this back when we originally watched him on Sesame Street for our show. He did 4 bits as Wolfgang the German Soldier on Sesame Street. Apparently received a bunch of complaints from parents about having this character on Sesame Street. And according to Muppet Wiki, Patricia Tornberg of the CTW Information Department noted that by January 1971, Artie Johnson Soldier has yet to attract any favorable comments. So nobody liked this dude.
Prior to Laugh-In, he had a typical acting career that included a couple of New York stage performances, including the original production of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes on Broadway and Ben Bagley's Shoestring Revue off-Broadway. He had a couple of small film roles and guest appearances on a range of television shows. After Laugh-In, he went back to the guest star life. He spent some time as a celebrity judge on The Gong Show, and he eventually got into voiceover work, both in cartoons and audiobooks. He died in 2019 at the age of 90. Does anyone have Artie Johnson memories?
Just seeing random clips of him saying very interesting and sometimes but stupid. Would he also say but stupid occasionally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't think I ever really watched Laugh-In, but that was like a bit that was very like present sort of everywhere.
Yeah, it was such a monoculture thing.
I think he shows up on Family Guy sometimes. That character does. That's probably, yeah.
We must have talked about this when we did Ruth Buzzy, but it's actually wild to me that Laugh-In was only on for 5 years. And all of them before I was born, because I feel like it had such a huge cultural footprint. And I don't think I've ever really watched it, but.
And see, I mean, I joke that I'm secretly 2 85-year-olds and a 6-year-old in a trench coat, but they showed Laugh-In on Nick at Night in the early 90s. So I saw a lot of it at a formative age. So to me, I'm like, oh no, of course, Laugh-In, yeah. But the thing is, yeah, his shtick didn't really extend beyond what he does in this special. So, or not, it's not a special. Nothing about this is special. In this failed pilot,
this generic,
this generic. If you like specials, you'll love. Well, it's something.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But yeah, no. Laugh-In had a bit of a moment on Nick at Night for like 2 or 3 years in the early 90s, and then it receded in the background. But all of Laugh-In is on Prime, or it was last time I looked.
Yeah, but it's a bad transfer of it because they did that thing where to make it fit widescreen TVs, they like
crop it,
zoomed in uncomfortably.
Oh my God, just letterbox it. Why?
Yeah, it's terrible. It's hard to watch.
The Muppet Show backstage.
We've talked a lot about the episode already, but let's see if we can stand to recap it a little bit. We've talked about these 2 thugs and a rat named Ratsy who are watching the show in a diner, and Ratsy keeps getting clobbered by these thugs, and he says he really hates the Beagle show because he keeps getting beaten up when it happens.
It's truly a wild choice to start the first episode of your show, assuming that's what they were going for, with someone saying they hate your show.
It's also like such a like you watch that and you think this is going to be the Statler and Waldorf, and then you cast your mind forward and think they're just going to have to find different ways to punch each other, I guess. Like, what's the idea here? Like 2 people who don't really like talk except grunt and beating up a rat, and we're going to have to see this a million times.
And Ratsy finds a way to beat them up because there are these football bears from another sketch, or these football monster things. And he says, why don't you ask my friends? And these guys come in and beat up the thugs. And then the rat says, check, please, which I know is a joke in some contexts, but I don't think it's a joke here.
No, I don't
I also, I hadn't even thought about this, Sam, until you just said the idea that they would, I don't think I put any thought into what episode 2 of this show looked like, let alone episode 20, because trying to think of what the next version of any of these running gags is upsetting me right now. That they could
go through the whole...
potentially go downhill.
Yeah.
Oh my God. They go through the whole cast of Three's Company for guest stars.
Or 20 episodes in, it could be like Ratsy's like the most developed character and everybody's like waiting to see what he does this week. And he's like overcoming adversity and Ratsy's making us cry, Matt. You never know which way it's going to go.
But he still has to say check, please, because somehow it became his catchphrase.
Yeah.
No. So there's this deeply uncharismatic polar bear that we've also talked about. He just sort of shows up to introduce Beagle. Like he's there on your television or like he's doing a voiceover on your television.
Like he's the announcer. Like that's a thing that would have existed on this show, but it's
If this were Laugh-In, he'd be the Gary Owens.
right.
And yeah, he does.
It's not funny. Like I'm not
No.
defending the execution, but that's like I understood why he was there. Again, 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Watched too many of these now.
It's like if you turn John O'Hurley into a puppet. That's who he is.
I'm going to laugh like I know who John O'Hurley is.
You know who John O'Hurley is.
Let's see. John O'Hurley.
He was on Seinfeld,
He's
right?
Jay
But-
Peterman
Oh,
from Seinfeld.
he's Jay.
Oh.
Just
But
say
I think
Jay
it was that guy
Peterman,
who was
please.
constantly stepping into Chicago to play Billy Flynn when they needed to boost their numbers with tourists.
Cute.
But he's also now a commentator on the National Dog Show every
The
year.
National Dog Show every year. And he sounds like he's having a great time.
I love that for him.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about Baby Beagle just assuming that Joyce DeWitt is a close personal friend of his and they've never met. And yeah, it's all very uncomfortable. We've
It
talked
also
about
never becomes clear, like, if he's telling the truth or not, or like
I think
what.
it's pretty clear that he
Well,
is
yeah, she
lying.
says we've
because
never met.
Joyce DeWitt is like, no.
But she's got such a like sneak. She just always like looks like she's lying to me too. Like she looks like she's being sneaky and he's being sneaky. I'm not really sure what they're. But I guess the fact that she falls for him later in disguise, maybe.
I mean, this is an example of how poorly executed this is because this could have been a reluctant guest star plot,
Yeah.
which is not our favorite, but it's a thing that exists and can be done well. And, you know, they have that interaction where he introduces her as a close personal friend and she comes out on stage in front of the audience, in front of his mother. And it's like, actually, we've never met. I don't know you, which is very rude and unprofessional, but it doesn't go anywhere. Like, it's just, that's it. That's the whole interaction.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it goes somewhere in the context of him trying to win her over, which we might as well talk about it because he does this alter ego as the masked masher, and which she immediately responds to like, "What a masher!" Which
What a masher.
are mashers
Which, like,
supposed
is
to
that
be appealing?
Good. Like, yeah, it's weird. And I mean, I realize like this is also how superheroes work and whatever, but like he puts on a mask and a hat and an accent, but he's still very clearly a dog. Like the same dog.
He's very
Well,
clearly
she's
a dog.
not racist.
He's very clearly the same dog, but he's also very clearly, instead of overwhelmingly coming on to her in the style of BB Beagle, he's just overdoing the coming on to her just with an accent. And she's like,
Pepe's
hell
a
yeah.
little bit of a Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was reminded of on New Year's Eve, I got a text from past and future Muppeturgy guest Amy Spalding, who was at a party, and she said, I just met someone else who also got obsessed with Phantom of the Opera at a very formative age, and I just want to ask you if something is true that is true for her. Does it automatically make a man a lot sexier if he has a mask and a cape? And I was like, yes. So
Same is also true for dogs, apparently.
you know, maybe Joyce DeWitt discovered the Phantom of the Opera at a formative age.
El Kabong is a lot sexier than Quick Draw McGraw. That's true.
There's a moment though at the beginning when they first have this awkward interaction where he's flirting with her, and she says something like, "Oh, well, we just live different lives that would never work," and I don't really know what she's talking about. Like the puppet, the dog, the show
How
business.
different are their lives? They're both right. They're both actors. Like
Yeah,
they both got regular TV gigs.
she does not make it very clear.
Is she Canadian?
That'll do it.
It's an important lifestyle distinction. She does come out and then says, I need to go back and finish dressing. So she's also half dressed, apparently, when she comes out and says, we've never met. Yeah, in front of the audience and God and everyone and his mother.
They desperately need a backstage set in this. Like, they just always are just walking out on stage interrupting each other. It's very unprofessional.
Yeah, and debating each other about what happens next while they're on
Yeah.
stage.
It's really saying something that they make the Muppet Theater look really professional.
Yeah.
I want to introduce someone who really is a close personal friend of mine, I hope. My mother, who's in the audience.
There she is. No, don't you touch me. You keep your dirty paws off me. You can't molest a star's mother.
Mom's always been on the shy side, but I love her.
Haha.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Baby
did
is
not
just-
laugh once in this entire special. Literally nothing made me laugh in this.
Not
This
even
is the
in
first
shock
time that's
when
happened.
Not even in Shock when a monster appears out of nowhere and eats people?
No.
Okay. Okay.
So we have this watchword situation, and the monster who eats you if you say the watchword also transfers over into the viewers in this diner, because these dudes and the rat, when they say the word nuts, the monster named Bubbles appears.
I sure hope somebody says the watchword.
So, what'll happen if somebody does?
Then Bubbles comes in and gets you.
Bubbles? What's a bubbles?
Oh, well, Bubbles is,
What are you, nuts?
Bubbles comes in and gets you. Scary.
It's interesting. Watching this, I didn't really get the Hanna-Barbera vibes, but when you just listen to the sounds without the visuals, it's like, oh, yes, this sounds exactly
I was
like
thinking the
any other
same
shitty
exact
cartoon.
thing. Because, BB sounds like he's like Fred adjacent, and the mom sounded just like every other old lady on a Hanna-Barbera thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I did like in this scene, I mean, I like Bubbles, obviously, and this is the first time we see them. But also the thug who is not being eaten seems completely unbothered by the fact that his friend is being eaten, and also hugs the rat in much the same way that I often hug my dog. Just to be like, it's okay. It's okay that our friend is getting eaten by the giant monster. Like, it's actually very sweet and cute, but like, again, doesn't go anywhere, isn't not consistent with these characters as we've seen them for the last 20 minutes. Like, it makes no sense, but I found it very cute.
That to me felt like the end of like an SNL sketch that they don't know how to end properly, because those puppets have very clearly like limited mobility. Like they are sort of like, it feels like they're stuck to facing the counter a little bit, and their arms are like, you can see the sleeves multiple times of the people who are puppeteering the hands on those guys, and the eyes are staring up and away. And so I think they were just like, we can't move him and have him look anywhere, so let's just have him, I guess, cuddle the rat.
I wish I had noticed it, because that sounds adorable.
I made a GIF because no one should watch this, but you should see that.
Speaking of the Hanna-Barbera connections, Bubbles, it turns out, is from a previous Hanna-Barbera production, which was called the Hanna-Barbera Hall of Fame Yabba Dabba Doo 2, which is available on YouTube. I assume that means that was the second time
I
they
hope
did a
so.
Hanna-Barbera Hall of Fame. It was like a clip show special hosted by the Incredible Hulk's Bill Bixby, and there were a few puppet segments, and so Bubbles is in that, although this segment with Bubbles is weirdly missing from the version that's on YouTube, but you can still see him in the end credits, or her. Bubbles, I don't know your gender identity, I'm sorry.
Come on the show. We'll talk about it.
And the football bears are also from that Hall of Fame special.
So there's just inexplicably this nightmare monster under the end credits of this special, but it doesn't actually appear in the special.
No, it was in the special, but the version that got uploaded to YouTube is missing that scene.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it's a sequel to something called Yabba Dabba Doo, The Happy World of Hanna-Barbera. So, sure. Like, you don't need a 2 in that second one. Nobody knows about that
it's
first one.
It's a behind-the-scenes thing. You don't actually need to make it again. Like, you can just rerun it. Weird. Just to go back to the watchword, I did look this up. The Pee Wee Herman show, in its original stage version, debuted in 1980. So they presumably did not steal this from Pee Wee Herman.
But that must be a thing that existed.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he stole it from them either. Yeah.
Pee Wee stole it from them.
I don't think he did. I don't think he saw this. But
there was an old black and white game show with like a secret word where they would like dump stuff on your head from like the 50s.
Oh, you can't do that on television. Well, that
was later.
Yeah,
the Groucho Marx.
Canadian.
Oh yeah, You Bet Your Life.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So it's probably that, but just saying.
So there's also a lady dog puppet named Zula, and since BB Beagle isn't interested in her sexually, she's the unbearable lady puppet.
She's bad. Yeah.
So you have referred to her as a dog multiple times, and I am here to say, what?
That's a dog.
She's a dog.
You think so?
It's a very phallic dog nose, but it's a dog.
I mean, I think she looks like the bastard child of Snoopy and an aardvark.
She just looks like a stuffed pantyhose to me.
Yeah, she's a soft.
I do not like this puppet. This puppet is very...
If you took Snoopy and beat him with a rolling pin,
yeah,
it would look like
You're
this.
right.
Rolled him out of it.
Yeah. No, I'm looking now. I see it.
Yeah. You're under arrest, Charlie Brown. My favorite special.
I'm sleeping with your boss, Charlie Brown.
And she makes all these dog-based threats at BB Beagle. She's like, I'm going to hit you with a rolled-up
because
newspaper.
he's a dog, not because she's a dog.
Well,
no, she's a bitch.
Oh.
Well, there it is.
And she's the producer's girlfriend, right?
That's what the sneaky rat flasher told us. But yeah, she's the producer's girlfriend. She keeps disparaging the show and saying it's terrible and that BB is terrible, but also she wants a starring role, even though she doesn't like being there.
Also, BB puts a weird emphasis on the pro and producer. Producer?
Canadian.
That's a Canadian, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
anytime there's a weird emphasis, just assume it's Canadian.
It was unsettling.
Worth noting, the voice actor who is BB is not Canadian. So either he's leaning into Canadian or he just says producer that way.
Fair.
Well, Jerry Nelson wasn't Canadian, and he really Canadianed it up to be Gobo.
That's true.
That's true.
I think when you're just working there, it sort of seeps in.
That would make sense. Yeah, so there's supposed to be some kind of big finale, and Zula is all ready to star in it, and then she says, oh, I couldn't, and BB's like, right, yeah, you couldn't. But I don't know, there's an alligator named Marty, who is a fun puppet, not well puppeteered, but is a fun puppet. He tricks her into a closet and says it's a tribute to Houdini, and then she gets eaten by Bubbles.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I, Martini the Magnificent, will astound, amaze, and mystify you with a trick I recently played before 3 kings. Unfortunately, he played 3 aces. A little humor there.
Get on with it.
And if my lovely assistant will step into this cabinet...
Oh, say, Marty, what is this bit?
It's a salute to Houdini. The great escape artist.
Marty, we can't just leave her in there.
Let me out of here, you're nuts! Do you hear me? You're all a bunch of nuts!
That's scary.
I did laugh at the 3 aces joke.
Yeah, I liked Marty. I thought he was good.
I don't know why there's a Paul Lynde alligator, but there is
And it's
one.
not actually Paul Lynde, right?
No.
Because Paul Lynde did do voices for Hanna-Barbera.
I think it's
For
Artie
real.
Johnson from something I read. I think he's doing the voice. And so I wonder if Artie Johnson had like a list. He's like, I can do these. Like, whatever you want, I can do from this menu.
It makes sense. It's just wild to me that these people did actually work with Paul Lynde, and then they were like, we'll just fake it.
Just get the Canadian non-union equivalent, Paul Lynde.
I mean, listen, at any given moment, Paul Lynde could be like face down in the gutter, so maybe they wanted him and couldn't get him.
Perhaps.
They got his impersonator. So that's how the episode ends. Hooray.
The aristocrats.
Nuts.
If you like Paul Lynde, you'll love Lol Pin.
They do go out of their way both times to like say that they aren't dead when they get eaten by Bubbles. Like she's in there like, I'm going to get out of here.
Yeah, it's very preschool TV. You're like, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Preschool TV with a flasher.
Yes. We said the secret word. We got eaten by a monster. But you still have to yell, I'm okay, when you fall down. Yeah. So the audience doesn't worry.
Thank you.
Well, spoiler alert. The vast majority of the songs in this situation were written by the same guy. And that guy's name is Bob Buckley, who is very Canadian and very entrenched in TV and film. He has done a lot of conducting and arranging. He worked with Michael Bublé and Bryan Adams and Celine Dion. Again, very Canadian. He's scored for every TV network you can think of. He's written music for the Olympics, a lot of stuff for commercials. Anyway, he's still out there working. He's based in Vancouver. So the show opens with a theme song.
It's finally here, our night of nights. It's the BB Beagle Show. The stage is set, the props in place. The crowd is ready for a pie in the face. We'll entertain you with style and grace on the BB Beagle. It ought to be illegal. The BB Beagle. It's really something regal. The BB Beagle. Oh!
comic's ready with a pie in the face. You know what there isn't in this show? A comic.
Or a pie
Or
in the
pie.
face.
Sure,
Yeah.
but
They don't even commit to that bit.
They didn't want
I
to get any
mean,
of their puppets dirty. They don't have the get your puppets dirty budget that the
Their
Muppets
puppets
do.
are already dirty.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, they could have just had a guy called
covered
Pie
in semen,
Face.
and we all know it.
God, just the like copy paste, slightly adjust and print. Like, put on the grease paint, adjust the tights. Come the
I like
fuck
this song.
on.
Yeah, I think it sounds
yes,
okay.
it is derivative. It's a ripoff. And like you said
Yeah.
before, it has that sort of 70s porny thing
Yeah, I
to
was
it.
digging the bass
Yeah.
on this.
But I love that. It's like-
It was very
Look,
good.
it's just like, it reminds me very much of like any of the instrumental tracks from the first 3 Muppet movies. Like it's just like that exact moment.
Oh yeah, the mayhem
Yeah.
on the top of the bus playing in London. Yeah, yeah. No, it is a very time specific vibe. And so this was written by the aforementioned Bob Buckley with someone named Miles Ramsey, who I did a little digging on and was very entertained by. Miles Ramsey was born in America but settled in Vancouver. He wrote more than 4,000 jingles. Good for him. Mostly in partnership with a couple of guys named Brian Gibson and Brian Griffiths. And his most famous composition is the A&W Great Root Bear theme. And of course I brought a clip.
Chris, you got to describe the visuals for that.
Yeah, what's happening during that?
What happened?
It won't help.
So it doesn't really help. So the like A&W bear, who apparently is known
Pretty
as the
good.
Great Root Bear, is like walking down the road, and there's like a door just in the middle of the road, and there's also like a lady tap
dancing
dancing
is what I
nearby.
heard and was very confused by.
No discernible reason. The bear walks through the door, and the door closes, and the tap dancer tries to open the door and can't, and then just continues tap
There's no root beer. Like, it's not like there's root beer on the other side of the door. It truly makes no sense. I mean, it must
the bear is wearing an A&W t-shirt, right? Like that's how we know what this is an ad for.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
also picturing
yeah.
it animated, but he is
No,
a guy
he's
in
a
a
it's like a
suit.
character.
mascot. Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's yeah.
It felt to me
yeah, it's
like
live action.
Like nowadays when there'll be like a whole series like leading up to the Super Bowl or something, right? So this is like the first one that doesn't make any sense, but it will later. But I don't know if there was a later.
No, I think it was just this. It reminded me too of, and I brought another clip of a very famous commercial for Pippin.
Here's a free minute from Pippin, Broadway's musical comedy sensation, directed by Bob Fosse.
And at least they explain
Sort of.
what's happening with this.
I mean, and the dancing is spectacular.
Oh, the dancing is incredible. It's Ben Vereen and a couple of Fosse dancers.
Might be.
Anyway.
One of them might be Emma King. She definitely
it might be,
was in
yeah.
that track later. I don't know if she was at this point.
Yeah, shout out to our Muppeturgy bingo players.
It's I love Pippin. I love the score to Pippin. I love that dance sequence of Pippin. But it is true, even in context, that musical section is bizarre. And so the choice to make that your 1 minute of
Very
commercial
strange.
and not, I don't know, Magic to Do, Corner of the Sky.
Yeah.
Just gives you a taste.
Very strange.
Makes you wonder what else you're in for.
One more fun fact about Miles Ramsey, co-writer of the BB Beagle theme song, before we move on. He later in his career did some stage acting, and most notably played Oscar Madison and Horace Vandergelder, so he was ostensibly the Walter Matthau of British Columbia. So we get an existing song. We get a couple of existing songs in this.
Yeah, let's talk about the sketch because we didn't do that.
There's the Paul Lind alligator.
Yeah, the Paul Lind alligator is a football coach, and we're getting like a locker room pep talk situation. And it's these giant bears And then Artie Johnson, who's Russian.
Well, he's playing one of his laughing characters.
Hmm.
Okay.
Piotr,
Okay.
or Piotr, how do you say the Russian name that is Peter? I don't know, that guy, Rasmenko, who's basically a character who was defected from the USSR, which was like a thing in American comedy in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And the 80s.
Yeah.
I guess Perfect Strangers, he wasn't Russian, but that
but Yakov Smirnoff.
Yakov Smirnoff, yeah.
Right.
You, Rasmenko. Next to Bronco, you're my biggest disappointment.
I always come in second.
You're worthless.
You daring to call me worthless, you Google-eyed cacamania? Do you know what it's like to go out there every Saturday and run in the muck and the mire? And I don't even know who Meyer is. Do you know how it feels to sweat in a pair of boots, to get knocked in the head, smash it in the back, pulled in the lip, and bang it in the face?
Yes, I do.
Well, I don't. Do you?
How did the laugh track operator know when to press the button?
Artie told them, hey, that was a joke.
The Meyer joke got a
It's
smile
mystifying.
out of me.
That's all right. Yeah.
Does
You're
it
very kind.
Does it mean something? I don't know that I got.
It's like a
it.
name. It's
I mean,
like
Meyer,
it's like a
M-I-R-E
it's like a
versus
synonym
Meyer,
or whatever.
M-Y.
Yeah.
M-E-Y-E-R.
It's not a
Homophone.
good joke, but
It's not a good
Yeah.
joke, yeah.
I was trying to put too much on it to be
Yeah.
like, wait, is muck a thing that like there is a muck, like a famous muck or something? I don't know.
No, you
Overthinking it.
Yeah, you thought way too hard.
I was trying to give it too much credit.
So yeah, the Paul Lind alligator's bright idea is he's going to distract the other team with sexy cheerleaders who don't have mouths.
What
for some
animal
reason.
do you think the cheerleaders are supposed to be?
They look like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, I thought
to
they
me.
were humanoid.
Everybody seems to sort of be weasels. Like the
I wasn't sure. First time I saw it, I thought dogs. Second time, I thought chipmunks.
I just thought person.
Yeah,
There's
same.
like that, like in
Blow
Uncle
up doll.
Scrooge comics, when everybody who's not a duck is just like a nondescript dog with like
they're
a
like
black nose.
badgers in
Yeah.
in those comics.
They're Sonic the Hedgehogs. I'm pretty sure that they're Sonic the Hedgehogs.
That's the obvious choice, I think.
But he
Makes the most
famously
sense.
has a mouth. He has teeth.
Mm.
Well, not anymore.
Well.
They removed them.
Yeah, he used to.
So these cheerleaders don't have mouths. They do have like kind of cleavage.
Yeah,
so
and
that's
legs.
Something.
They do a kick line.
And legs, because they do a kick line to this song.
You gotta be a football hero to get along with a beautiful girl. You gotta be a touchdown getter, you bet, if you wanna get a baby to pet.
I mean, good on that bass player for getting his entire life, but good God. Okay, so this is a song called You Gotta Be a Football Hero to Get Along with the Beautiful Girls. It was written by Al Sherman, who was the father of Disney's The Sherman Brothers, along with Al Lewis and Buddy Fields. And it was written in 1933, and I brought a 1933 recording by Ben Burney and all the lads, so we can hear what it sounded like at the time.
You gotta be a football hero to get along with a beautiful girl. You gotta be a touchdown getter, you bet, if you wanna get a baby to pet. The fact that you are rich or handsome won't get you anything in curls. You gotta be a football hero to get along with a beautiful girl.
If you want to get a baby to pet, no.
That's
Yeah.
evocative language.
I was like hoping I heard that line wrong both times.
Al Lewis is Grandpa Munster.
Nope.
Yeah,
am
is
I
it that
right?
same Al Lewis?
Could be,
That
like,
can't.
Could be.
He was
Could it?
old
Well,
as hell
okay,
in
let's
the
look.
Munsters.
Well, he was born in 1923, and the song was from
Oh.
1933, so no.
Dang.
So no.
Or he could have been
Prodigy.
a child prodigy of novelty songs. We don't
That's
know.
why he said pet. He thinks that's what you do with a girl. You pet
And
her.
then one day he's like, I'll just be a vampire today. Why not?
Yeah.
Man, Ben Burney looks exactly like I was imagining he did when we were listening to that clip. His image literally has a giant cigar in his mouth
Oh,
and a tuxedo
wow.
with slicked back hair.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Yep. You got to be a football hero to be that guy.
Yep.
That was probably the funniest song that had ever been written in 1933.
Well, it's the funniest song that we get in this show.
That's true.
For sure. So yeah, the cheerleaders are very distracting. The football players walk through the wall. That's the sketch.
One of those bear puppeteers is a little overzealous with their eye mechanism. It's like the whole time they're just hanging out, getting their pep talk, he's just like going back and forth. And I'm like, oh, you're just playing with that like knob or whatever is above your head, controlling those eyes. And it does not look like a believable character, Mr. Bear.
They just found some Canadian guy, Matt. Come on.
He just lifted up a rock and pulled out a Canadian guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was an eye mechanism.
Yeah, it's just, it feels like the eyes, like, some of them are, like, looking side to side in a more natural way, and then there's just one bear who's, like, the left shark of the group, and it's just like, whee!
And then he walks through a wall. That all checks out.
So our next number is a Joyce DeWitt special, and this is an original. This is a Bob Buckley original. Let's hear a little bit.
I need love. I need it right now. I need love. Give me love. I want it and how. I need love. I need love. I got so much to give. I need love.
That was BB at the end.
That is a sound that he makes, yeah.
Hornily interrupting her. This is the number we talked about earlier where she's stripping, but not really.
Yeah. And the song is sort of like a copy-paste, slight edit save of Maybe This Time from Cabaret. The chords are very, very similar. And so I was able to confirm the authorship of these songs by doing probably more thinking than anyone has done about this special since it aired. Cross-checking against the ASCAP database and the SOCAN, which is the Canadian equivalent of ASCAP database. And I Need Love was in there. But then the next song, which happens more or less after the horny interruption, when BB decides to disguise himself as the Mask Masher, is not in there. So I'm wondering if, because we only hear that slight bit, if all of this is technically considered one song for royalties purposes. I don't know that there are, people out there, performing I Need Love / When I Kiss You at cabarets. But
well, perhaps we should stage the BB Beagle show live at
the duplex.
54 Below sings the BB Beagle show.
Right, I was going to say 54 Below, but this doesn't quite rise to that level. But yes, the duplex would be perfect.
They got like a Monday night opening, I'm sure. We could sneak in there.
So let's hear the Masked Masher and Joyce's duet, When I Kiss You.
When I kiss you, you know you've never been kissed. No, never like this before. One embrace and you know you cannot resist. You'll see what you missed before. I kiss your eyelash. Oh! I kiss your elbow. I kiss your earlobe, and when that's through, I'll pledge to be true, and I'll pledge to you.
Sure.
Oh, I had just gotten out my castanets when we finished the clip.
I appreciate the xylophone or marimba, whatever that is in there. That's doing some work.
Yeah, no, these orchestrations go really hard. I don't think anything in the show rises to the level of the orchestrations.
Of nothing, yeah.
Do you think this was going to be a thing that BB did a lot? Or was just this episode? You think every episode he's going to turn super horny and get into disguise?
In the same way that Kermit in season 1 flirted with all of the lady guest stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's successful at it.
Kermit.
They flirt back with him.
They love Kermit, yeah.
Well, Joyce DeWitt didn't accept it, but maybe if he got more desperate guest stars.
I am confident they thought that the Mask Masher would also be a running thing.
Was going to be a hit, yeah, I suppose.
The Mask Masher is where the terrible jump cut is that annoyed me a lot. When he runs off screen and comes back as the Mask Masher, they're trying to make it like a quick change. And Joyce DeWitt does a pretty good job of staying still during this cut. But there's like some lighting changes that happen on the background just subtly, so it's very, very clear it's a cut. And I'm watching this going, either build a second puppet that's the costumed version.
Yeah.
Right. That's the smart way to do it.
Yeah, or just change the shot a little bit to hide this terrible, terrible jump cut, because you don't need to do this.
It's interesting. I have a different one. When you said that earlier, I was like, I wonder if it's the same one. We'll get there in a minute.
I'm also wondering if Dick Robbins and Dwayne Poole, who were the writers of the special, I keep calling it a special.
This generic.
I mean, it did air.
I just wanted to hear that.
It did air as a one-off, so I think we can safely qualify it as a special.
Anyway, I'm wondering if the lyrics of any of these songs were actually their doing, and they just didn't get credit for it. Just throwing that out there. It's possible.
Maybe.
It does feel like lines that could have been improvised on the set, or hey, try this one.
Yeah, totally.
We know that people streaking and that was a thing. We know that flashers were a thing. Did people in the 70s take kindly to mashers? Is it good?
So I don't know who put this definition in the outline, but could somebody whoever put it in, please read it?
Yeah, well, Wikipedia gave a number of potential definitions of masher, some of which had to do with vegetables. But one of which was
pounding chicken.
It's not unlike pounding chicken. So one was a possible definition was a term for a dandy, which I don't think is quite this. And the other was, which is I think this definition, a man who makes unwelcome advances, often in public places and typically to women he does not know, which is this guy. But she's like, yeah love a good masher.
It's like,
I just
what
assumed,
a creep.
Yeah.
I assumed that it just meant like kissing, like
I thought so too. I thought it was
like
about
mashing as like 50s sort of slang for making out, which could be totally wrong, but that's just how I interpreted it in context. And like, then they just wanted the alliteration of mass masher, and it doesn't actually make any sense. But yeah, it's weird. She also acts like he's a character she knows, right? She's like, oh, the mass masher's into me. What an honor.
Masher.
He's a notorious criminal in this universe. Yeah.
Exactly.
The only other place I've heard the word masher is in the lyrics of The Music Man, where, Marianne Peru is like, do you think that I would submit to the advances of a common masher? No, really, mama.
Which works with your definition that just, none of it makes any sense.
No.
It's all so first thought.
But it is the same joke of El Kabong in... Sorry if nobody knows who El Kabong is. From Quick Draw McGraw, which was another Hanna-Barbera cartoon. He would put on a mask and a hat and be like a caped crime fighter kind of guy. Or Zorro. I mean, it's Zorro too, I suppose.
This looks a lot more like the Hamburglar mixed with Pepe Le Pew, though.
But the Hamburglar is not another person, and he only knows the mask. There is no man under the mask. That's actually a very interesting thought, Matt. I think that we could explore this.
I think we could in the Bruce Wayne Batman way of like which one is actually the secret identity.
Who's real? Yeah, he takes off his mask and he's got the smearing mascara that
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
We need Robert Pattinson's Hamburglar movie.
Oh my God, yes we do.
He would do it. I think he would do it. Maybe.
Yeah, he would.
But like the Don Juan thing makes
podcast,
sense.
But
if you want to sponsor us, we'll take
Send
free
us
fries.
toys. We don't even need fries. We just want toys. Yeah, the Don Juan thing makes sense. Like there is some version of masher that is interpreted as not creepy.
Right.
This does not achieve that.
Right. So just before we move on to the next song, so BB reveals himself and is like, "Oh, you were into the masher. Guess what? It was me all along."
Joyce.
Hi, BB.
Rumor has it that you've fallen for the masked masher.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Well, what if I was to tell you that I am the masked masher?
Oh, gee, I'd laugh hysterically.
Well, I am the masked masher. She's certainly a woman of her word.
So that didn't work. You can hear in the clip that he is dubbed. Like you can absolutely tell that they are not in the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, there's no reason for anyone to like BB, but clearly he got a show somehow. And so the fiction of this is just fascinating to me that when we listened to the theme song, I was just thinking about man, everyone has to sing this song about how great this stupid dog is, and he's maybe their boss. And it's I'm just trying to imagine Kermit in the same situation where he's like, all right, everyone, It's time for the Kermit show. Come on, sing my song. But at least Kermit's a little, he's got some more pizzazz to him.
He's an ambassador. Yes, Kermit he's introducing us to the world of the Muppets.
I don't know
BB is just in it for himself.
I don't know what BB's got that makes everyone want to work for him in this way.
Well, Zula's there because she's fucking the producer.
That's right.
What's BB Beagle doing there?
He's also fucking the producer.
Yeah.
Could be the same.
That's why
deal,
he's so upset to find out that
Shocked.
Zula is the producer's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Solved it.
Also watching, you can hear how painful it is to see Joyce DeWitt muster that hysterical laughter. I just felt so bad for her in that moment that she had to try to pretend like anything that was happening was fun or funny.
I'm actually liking more and more this theory that BB Beagle is also sleeping with the producer and that everything he's doing to Joyce DeWitt is to try and make the producer jealous. As the producer's up in the booth watching this show, and he's like, "Oh, the producer's girlfriend, huh? Interesting. All right, well, come here, Joyce DeWitt."
So everything moves forward from producer's girlfriend.
Yeah.
He
does give Scooter vibes, which is to say, gay.
He does. He's he's
Scooter,
got such
but
an annoying
somehow
voice.
put in charge of anything.
Yeah, somehow much worse. Yeah.
But I feel like everybody must know that all of their relationships are open because we know that at the end she fucks the mummy, unless the mummy is also the producer.
Well, maybe the mummy is the producer, which is also why he would be in a position to be mad at BB Beagle.
I did not get that she fucks the mummy, but let's come back to it.
She's from Hanna-Barbera. She fucks the mummy, the new special.
Sometimes she fucks the mummy.
She fucks the mummy too, yeah.
She and the mummy
Followed
and the
by
producer.
Paul Lynn's alligators.
That is actually my favorite episode of Scooby-Doo. Where there's a mummy menacing a small town, and Velma fucks him to get out of it.
I don't know if you're kidding or not.
And I'm not going to tell you.
Yeah.
Just assume yes.
All right, well, backing out of that corner.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you fucking kids. Sorry.
We've got one more Bob Buckley joint in this, and it's Joyce DeWitt singing a song about the Masked Masher that sounded to me like a commercial for dish soap. Let's just hear it.
Oh, this to me was like the most rip-offy of all of them.
There's no one that does it like you. No one can do the things you do. You're such a smasher, masher. Nobody does it like you.
Can't you at the end of that hear like Palmolive?
Totally.
And baby, you're the best.
Yeah, it's very Nobody Does It Better,
yeah.
which was 77, so like
Yeah.
very recent.
Man,
Oh,
the rhymes in all of these songs are so terrible, and I did not notice that when watching it.
Yes,
but now
hearing it without seeing the audios is just like,
The rhymes are bad, the scansion is bad.
It's bad.
They're just bad.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Mr. Buckley.
And it's also like no wonder he comes out and interrupts her every time because they just didn't feel like writing the whole song.
Yeah.
And thank God for that.
Yeah.
So we get one more real song, and it's a song that's in the public domain. Shout out to the public domain.
Oh,
Let's
good.
hear a little bit
Well,
of
now it is. It wasn't then, right?
Correct.
it. Well, yeah. It for the last 2 years,
Yeah,
it's been in the
okay.
public domain.
I wanna be loved by you, just you and nobody else but you. I wanna be loved by you
So this is I Want to Be Loved by You from the 1928 musical Good Boy. It's written by Harry Ruby, Bert Kalmar, and Herbert Stothart? Who knows? Not me. It was introduced by Helen Kane, who was the inspiration for Betty Boop, and Subsequently, Betty Boop also performed this. So if you've heard it before, you've probably heard Betty Boop do it. And Muppeturgy listeners know we love a list. And this was number 128 on the Recording Industry Association of America's Songs of the Century list, which is a really weird list. Like, it starts out okay, like Over the Rainbow is number 1, but number 7 is just West Side Story, parentheses, album.
Oh, that doesn't seem like it would count.
No, they just couldn't pick one song.
It's my favorite song.
Yeah. I do love the overture from West Side Story, which sort of encompasses the rest.
Sure, but...
that also means that, the competition feels rude to West Side Story there, to be like, oh yeah, all of your songs combined could only make it to number 7.
It's a choice, like so much about all of this. So this is Joyce DeWitt dancing with the big football bears. It's big thog vibes.
Yeah. I mean, even down to the set, the lack of set, but right, that's just they're in a void. So, I mean, I loved the disco transition. But so here's the cut that drove me crazy. So right before the disco transition, the bears surround her. And then they move away and it's a quick change. And they do it like a stage show. Like she is in fact wearing a tearaway dress. And one of the bears pulls it off of her, which is totally unnecessary because this is television. And there's a hard cut and the camera moves. Like there's no reason for us to then see the dress dangling off the bear's non-working paw, right? Like they had to cut to attach the dress to the hand so he could pull it off of her. It's so weird and just like uncalled for. And they could have just done exactly what they did without showing the dress, also without moving the camera. If they hadn't moved the camera, it probably would have looked really good, but they did, so it doesn't. Obviously, I made a GIF. Again, you should not watch this. But it's so weird.
But you should watch a bunch of football bears slam into her with no sound.
I mean, yes.
This has camera effects added to it that are very reminiscent of the first time an 8th grader gets their hand on editing software.
I do feel like it's very of the time, though. Like,
Sure.
So then after that, like, she's dancing and it's, there's 10 Joyce DeWitts in a line. I'm not saying it's good. I just feel like it.
Also, the choreography, speaking of 8th graders,
Yeah.
feels like line dancing in gym class. Now, granted, this is a little bit like what disco dancing was, so it is, authentic, but it's just, I wasn't sure if is this the best that she could do? Was there a choreographer, or did they ask her to just sort of make it up? Like, it's very unfortunate.
Do you think she told anybody she did this? Like she went back to Three's Company and said, guess what I did this weekend, guys?
I took a vacation in British Columbia and nothing happened.
I mean, do you think she already owned these dresses?
Oh, interesting. Yes.
I love both of the dresses that she's wearing in this number. And
I feel like that's the thing that she negotiated in order to do this. She's like, I know you're going to pay me scale, but I need 2 great outfits and I get to keep them.
Yeah, I like that blue thing she was wearing earlier, too. Like, actually, she looks great consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does okay. I mean, what I said every time I watched this was I kept saying, like, it's not that it's terrible. It's just not good. Like,
yeah, like it would be more fun if it were worse.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the Joyce DeWitt of it is fine. She's doing the best she can.
There's not a credited costume person. At least on IMDb.
Well, then maybe she just wore her clothes.
Joyce DeWitt style by herself.
They went to the Bay and picked some stuff out. That's a little Canadian content for you.
Never mind that jazz. Listen, Turkey.
What? And get out of show business?
Oh, so there are some sketches here, and we've mostly talked about them, but we also have some clips set up, so let's get through it. There's a sitcom about a family of monsters. They're like a kind of a gross version of the Munsters or the Addams Family. Their names are Mom, Dad, Wart, and Hog.
Now, why so late from school?
Oh, Mrs. Greer locked us in the closet.
Oh, private tutoring, how nice.
She said we were perfectly revolting.
That's my kids.
Boo! Buzzard again?
We can't have tarantulas every night, children.
Then how come there's no fly in our soup?
Flies pies are expensive. Rats aren't in season.
If you eat your dinner, there's a special treat for dessert. Scorpion ice cream.
I wish the listeners could see how blank our faces were for the last 30 seconds.
As blank as those voice actors were.
Why would you have two kids and give them just the same lines? Ugh.
Yeah.
They're like a terrible like Philo and Gunge ripoff, which I know they're not because they're before Philo and Gunge, but they are somehow through the time vortex worse versions of those characters.
Some Canadian person saw it and stole the idea for later.
But it did remind me of the Addams Family line, children play with your food. Like, don't forget to slam the door. Like,
yeah, it's very much that.
That's fun.
I really, the parents, I think, are literally phoning it in. Like, they just...
they recorded
just
this over
terrible.
the phone.
Yeah.
This sketch has potential, though. Maybe the children won't all be in unison forever.
I think that I like these guys. Yeah, and I think the set's cool. I mean, they're cool enough, and I think they could have been something on their own. And they're like competently made puppets, I think.
Yeah, the only problem is that it's like four sort of formless monsters that all kind of look the same. They're not very distinct. If they're not speaking, you would not know which one is mom, which one is dad, which one is Wart, which one is Hog.
True.
Yeah. This is also a place where I think the bad transfer
Probably didn't
hurts
help.
it because
it's all kind of washed out.
It's all kind of dark and dusty, and therefore it looks really bad on an old video.
Yeah. Their blocking sucks too. They're running into each other so much.
Yeah.
But I would watch a second sketch of this. Just
Probably
to see
the
where it
best
goes.
part of the whole entire thing, in my opinion.
This feels like something that would show up on the Jim Henson Hour. We'd go, that was pretty good. They should do that again. And then they would never do it again because they don't know how to make good things on that show.
So there's another sketch where the polar bear announcer reads a disclaimer and then Artie Johnson translates it, allegedly. But it's very much just a Swedish Chef ripoff where he's just like making up words in a made up language. It's not funny. It's the only reason I think it's worth mentioning is because each of these sketches feels like a direct ripoff of a Muppet character, and we need to build the case.
Is this a character that he has played before that you know of?
Chris, did you know?
Probably.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just Artie Johnson drowning in macrame,
His
trying to be the
macrame
Swedish
outfit
Chef.
is so specific, that I feel like it's something. Like I don't know what they're going for, but they're going for something. But yeah, he's even got like the big Swedish Chef mustache and everything.
Yeah. So that happens. There's a sort of at the dance ripoff, but it's at the disco, and there's only one joke.
And it's barely a joke.
You sure are a smooth dancer.
Darling, that's because you're standing on my feet.
Heavy.
It's
the
got
whole
the shape of a
thing.
joke.
What does that even mean?
Actually, that's not the whole thing. There's a much longer... The intro goes on for much longer. There's so much filler in this.
Also, the lady puppet here looks like Zula, but is not Zula because Zula is also in this scene. But it's like if you took Zula and like very badly applied like clown makeup to her. It is so weird. It's like and because of the way they have to hold it to make it look like they're dancing, her head is cocked in a certain way that it almost feels like they're making fun of the disabled. Like it's so like between the badly applied makeup and the weird stance, you're just like, I feel like this might be a hate crime.
When this started, I was sort of excited, not knowing it was going to be Not the Dance ripoff, but just I was like, oh, okay, 79.
Thank
They're doing
God,
a disco sketch.
yeah.
Here we go. Right, there's a whole disco set. There's a bunch of puppet extras flailing around. The music is kind of great. It's very one night only disco version. And then
it's over before it even starts.
Yeah, and like I was like, great, this is going to be great. And then they started talking, and I was like, oh, they're doing At the Dance, but it's not funny, and now it's over. Like, what?
I can't believe it was just one joke.
It was just one joke.
And they clearly built so many puppets for this.
Yeah, I wish you could get a better look at some of them.
Because between this and the audience shot they have earlier when the mom shows up, you just see so many original characters they created for this show. And if you look up, when you're looking up this show on Google, like multiple things about this stress, they had 51 puppets. I don't know why.
God, where?
I think if you look at the dance and the audience, there's probably a good 30 just in those two scenes. But I don't know why someone felt the need to stress 51 puppets.
That must have been in the marketing materials.
Yeah.
A cast of thousands.
I wonder if the Muppet Show had like 50 puppets and they were like, well, we got one more.
Everybody's
guy's
a flasher.
yeah.
Yeah, we didn't build clothes for him, but we did get one more. So there's an answering service sketch where there's kind of a phone operator, Lily Tomlin situation where there's a sexy fox connecting somebody to the party favor business, and that just conjures up a party. And she says, "What a great party line," or something.
Right, like confetti falls from the sky. Confetti's not a party favor. Confetti is a party supply.
Yeah, and it's the Paul Lynde voice on the phone asking for Peter Piper's party favors, I think. Something like that.
This to me felt like their ripoff of the Muppet Newsman because of like somebody says something and then the
And stuff
related
falls
thing
on them?
falls from the sky onto them.
But she seems stoked.
She doesn't get knocked down by it.
Yeah, she's having fun.
And then the last sketch is this myth breaker thing where BB Beagle is also somehow the host of this weird nonsense, even though somebody else could have hosted it. It would have potentially been more fun. But he's exploring a pyramid and there's a curse with the mummy and he doesn't believe any of that is real.
And he's at his most obnoxious in this part.
But like in a totally different way, right? In this, he's playing this like innocent.
Right, he's like,
Whatever,
I, a scientist,
like
am
little
here to
puppy.
show you the inside of a pyramid and
Yeah.
disrespect the mummy who's about to beat me up several times.
Another legend has it that monster mummies guard this pyramid against all intruders. And as your famous myth breaker, I'm here to point out just how ridiculous that is.
Here's the one other nice thing I can say about this, other than that the orchestrations go really hard. This Egyptian tomb set looks great.
It does, except for the
Yeah.
weird wall in the front of it to hide the puppeteers.
And the weird mummy, who's
But
kind
it
of like an
does.
elephant mummy.
I thought it looked kind of cool. I mean, yes,
Oh,
weird,
neat,
absolutely
yeah.
weird, but kind of cool. I did just now. I just chuckled at his delivery at the very end there of what is it? I remember already. It does. And then the mummy strangles him from behind. Like it's pretty violent. And BB kind of does this little like, oh, I'm dizzy from lack of oxygen thing. And then the mummy like taps him on the head and he collapses. And like this is a nice bit of puppetry because his chin hits that wall and then his eyes slowly close. And like, this is where I was like, okay, this puppet is cute and they're using it well in service of, again, a terrible sketch that is not funny. But it was like one of a couple high points for me.
Yeah, and Zula shows up at the end and, like, just as a way to insult him a little more, is like, I'll show you how to deal with a mummy. Like, come on, mummy, I'll help you unwind.
Oh.
And then she says, Joyce DeWitt, ha! Because she's also maybe trying to seduce BB Beagle by seducing a mummy and or the producer. I don't know what's going on. She's like mad at Joyce DeWitt for no reason.
Yeah. Zola's got a complicated life.
Yeah. She's never found the right therapist, I guess.
Oh, I'm tired already.
Well, we made it to the end of picking this apart. Does anyone have sort of final thoughts on this episode before we move on?
Somebody said that it was not, what did they, it's not bad. It was,
I was saying it's
but it
not
wasn't-
terrible, but it's just not good. Like, if it were
Yeah.
truly terrible, we would have had a better time.
yes. Yeah. But it also has this element of like, there's so many weird ideas that I think are just like actually just lazy ideas. But the whole thing is just, to me, completely uncanny and uncomfortable to watch. And I think stinky. I've watched the whole thing over again as we're talking. And every frame of it it just stinks.
Yeah, there's no good reason for this to exist. But they threw it
Yeah.
together anyway.
Well, when you have a company that has created so many iconic characters to swing and miss so hard with every single character in this special is an achievement in its own right. But like, you could have made some Yogi Bear puppets or something, and just the recognition would have been more entertaining than this.
There is a Yogi Bear puppet in
In the Hanna-Barbera Happy Hour, there's a walk-around Yogi Bear.
Yeah, he's a full body. Yeah. It is also just like wild that this even aired. Right?
I
like
mean,
so many
is there a
so many
tax write-off
pilots.
reason where maybe they were just like, I guess we gotta?
Yeah,
Listen,
it's
so
like,
many failed pilots do get shown once. Because remember, like,
back then they did, yeah.
right,
That's-
like they had all this time to fill, and in the off season and whatever, like, why not?
And a variety show makes sense because there's no through line. It doesn't matter if it doesn't end.
But your point about, like, we don't know what time it aired at, I think is a really salient one. Like, this definitely feels like something that maybe they put on, like, at 11 o'clock or at 1 o'clock or...
Yeah.
Let's wait till all the other stations are off the air for the night.
Right.
It'll be the only thing anyone can watch.
Hanna-Barbera also had another puppet show basically in the form of the Banana Splits. They should have just brought the Banana Splits back. I think that could have been, like, capitalize on the Muppets through the Banana Splits. That might have been a better idea.
And you could have made it just as horny. Just they're a bunch of bananas.
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of not that long ago. They made a horror movie of the Banana Splits, like an officially sanctioned Banana Splits horror movie. So I imagine there's probably some horniness in that.
What a time
Whichever
to be
banana
alive.
sleeps around first gets killed, probably.
Wow,
as is
I
the
have
rules.
no idea what you're talking about, and I think
You don't know the Banana Splits?
I'm happy about it.
I'm not sure I do either.
It's a Sid and Marty Krofft joint.
Yeah.
There's an image that's coming to mind.
I'm realizing I know way more about Hanna-Barbera than maybe most other people on Earth do.
Oh, this is not the
unfortunately.
image that I had in my mind. I was picturing bananas.
Wait, hold on.
no.
This is the true test. Sam, can you please name the members of the Banana Splits?
Fleagle, Bingo, Drooper, and Snorky, okay? All right, Tommy.
I knew you would know that.
Huh.
See, now we're an educational podcast. We taught everyone something.
Yeah, you did.
Well, we have a little tradition on Kermitment before we wrap up the episode because, sometimes we're watching 10 hours of Sesame Street clips in a week, and hopefully you find some joy throughout the week and watch something that's non-Muppets as well. This wasn't obviously a Muppet thing that we watched this week, so I have to ask all of you, what non-Muppet thing, or I guess in this case it could be a Muppet thing, did you enjoy this week?
Well, as we're recording this, The Pit has just returned, and The Pit is great, and everybody should watch it. When the first season of The Pit ended, my partner and I started watching/rewatching ER, which is also on HBO Max, and is also great, and I highly recommend it. And I've also been rewatching Dawson's Creek, so I've been spending a lot of time this week in the year 2000. And at the end of January, I was actually a guest substitute host on the podcast again with this. So if you want to hear me talk about 2 really boring episodes of Dawson's Creek season 5, you can go and find those if you are deeply invested in Muppets from Space stars Joshua Jackson and Katie Holmes. Matthew, where are you? You mentioned on an episode that you were also watching Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, so we started Dawson's Creek. I started a rewatch of it and accidentally tricked my wife, who had never seen it, into becoming a Dawson's Creek fan. And then we got into season 2, and she started to hate it. And so we stopped in the middle of season 2.
Fascinating.
So, yeah. They don't do a lot of good things with Jen in season 2, and it is really hard to get through that storyline.
That is true, but you have to at least get to the end of season 2 so you get to Crying Dawson.
We didn't get to Crying Dawson, unfortunately.
It's such a famous GIF, and you can see it happen in real time.
I think she's happy to enjoy it in GIF form only.
Fair enough.
I have jumped on the horny dirtbag bandwagon, and
You watching the gay hockey show?
Tore through heated rivalry.
Yeah.
They're not dirtbags. They're sweet.
No, they're sweet
No,
boys.
They're sweet. It's the fans that are dirtbags.
Yeah.
No, the boys are very sweet, very horny, but very sweet. And yeah, I mean, it is, if like me, you are not a sports person, the hockey is about as relevant as the pizza is when the pizza delivery guy shows up at a porno. It's really very just sexy and character. There's a lot of character development. It's one of those things where it reinforces, as somebody who's currently writing a rom-com, it reinforces that character interactions can be drawn in sexy moments. So.
Yeah. There's a great interview in, I think, Vulture with the NMC coordinator. And they talk a lot about like storytelling through sex scenes. It's really well done.
I talked about this, now months ago on Kermitment, so people would have heard me talk about this, but it's the only thing I've watched recently, and there's more people to hear it this time. But I just watched Jay Kelly this week, the new George Clooney, Noah Baumbach movie, and I am a sucker for Noah Baumbach movies, so I, of course, loved every second of it. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but it's
I didn't even know he had a new movie out.
I did. It's on my list, but I haven't watched it yet. So
yeah. There's also a really good making of Jay Kelly on Netflix, which is like just a pretty decent. It feels like something that would have been on the DVD version of the movie 15 years ago, and is something that they don't make that often anymore, especially for movies like this. But there's a lot of in-camera trickery that if you just watch the movie, you would maybe assume was a hidden cut or something. And so there's a lot of actually really impressive shots that don't, brag about themselves while you're watching the movie, but you watch the making of and you're like, oh, that's actually extremely cool. Good job, everyone.
The movie itself also on Netflix?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know if it's like technically a Netflix original. I think it like had to air in some, theaters first, but I think Netflix sort of owns it in some way.
Yeah. George Clooney just won an AARP Movies for Grown-Ups award.
Wow.
For Best Actor.
Well, I guess I feel extremely old having picked that movie then as my favorite thing of the week.
Yeah, my aunt loved it.
Yeah? Your aunt's got great taste.
I do think the criterion for those awards is that the actors have to be AARP eligible. So, yeah.
Not every single person who watched it.
That's a relief. Yeah, David, what'd you watch?
I finally watched a movie that has been on my to-watch list for literally decades, which is A Few Good Men, which I know a lot of people were reaching for after Rob Reiner's very tragic death. What I didn't realize going into it is also just like how of the moment it would be, because the plot is about whether or not people should disobey illegal orders to the military. Like, wow, what a moment to watch that movie. And let me tell you, even though there are elements of it, especially the score, that are very 90s, like it holds up. Like it's an incredible cast. The script is Aaron Sorkin before he was like fully Aaron Sorkin. So there's a lot of his stuff there, but it's before you get sick of it. So it's like not quite so like cutesy. And it's just, it's a great movie. Like totally like held my attention from start to finish.
It's got some of the Aaron Sorkin things in it that you'll see and you're like, wait a minute. That exact line is said in The West Wing later on.
By the same actor.
Yeah. And you realize there's some good compilations out there of Sorkinisms and how often he does that.
Yeah.
And you
but
can
they're
see,
fresh here.
Yeah, you can see the source.
Yeah.
It's actually really funny because there's like a bunch of actors who are in a lot of Aaron Sorkin things. And then there's also a bunch of Rob Reiner people. So seeing like those things kind of merge is also, it's fun.
So I have not watched the gay hockey show. I have been catching up on the kind of the opposite of a gay hockey show, which is Shoresy.
Oh, same creator though.
Yeah. Well, he was the creator of Letterkenny. I don't know how much of a hand he had in making Shoresy, but I also finally revisited When Harry Met Sally, which I'm pretty sure I watched it once when I was a kid. So this was my first watch as an adult.
Oh, wow.
And I was just so overwhelmed by how beautiful every fucking thing about it was. And it was the kind of like, after I watched like Fleabag, I was depressed for 2 weeks because I was like, nothing will ever be this good again. Like, I can certainly never make anything this good. Like, I just don't even know what to do with myself. And I felt similarly after this. I didn't like stay in bed depressed for 2 weeks, but it was like, I don't think there needs to be another movie after this.
Man,
like, what could be better? There wasn't.
I wish I could put myself
better.
back in like in that place, because I watch that movie at least once a year, and
it was so beautiful.
Yeah, to be able to go back and forget it would be amazing.
Yeah,
I almost once drove off the road because of that movie, because there's that
Chrissy,
scene
stop
where
watching movies while you're driving.
Yep, that's what I was doing. No, there's that scene where Harry is calling and leaving voicemails for Sally, and he's like singing with the karaoke machine, and he's like singing a song that I thought he was making up, and then I actually heard that song for the first time on shuffle on a 60s Spotify playlist and was like, what? Yeah, anyway, that's my life.
I've never seen it before.
Oh, it's good.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
You can name
now you
all
get
the
to
banana
you get to
splits,
watch
but
it.
You haven't seen When Harry Met Sally.
You get to watch it for the first time.
Yeah.
What a gift.
So this is kind of a cheat because I didn't just watch it, but this whole episode has reminded me of the show Jellystone, which is like a pretty recent cartoon I think it's only stopped airing last year. And it's on HBO, I think. I wouldn't be shocked if it was like Lost Media or soon to be Lost Media. But it's basically all of the old Hanna-Barbera characters that you know and love, like Yogi Bear and Boo Boo and Huckleberry Hound and all those guys. But it's also like Magilla Gorilla and Mildew Wolf and Grape Ape and like all these characters that have ever existed. And I honestly wouldn't be shocked if one of the characters from BB Beagle shows up in the background of one of these episodes. But they basically all live in this big town and crazy. It's like The Simpsons kind of, except with the characters from old Hanna-Barbera things. And the Banana Splits pop up, but instead of like a fun children's band, they're like a criminal organization. And like some of the characters are robots, for like robot crime fighters for no reason, instead of like a cute dog and cat like they're supposed to. It's just like a fun recontextualization of these characters. And there's stuff like this old Space Ghost Coast to Coast cast will come back for certain episodes and callbacks to Cartoon Network's history. So if you're specifically my age, you'll go like, oh, okay, I remember that. Yeah, but Jellystone is fun. It's stupid, really stupid, but also really fun.
It was inevitable after multiple El Kabong references that we land at Jellystone.
Yeah, he's in it too.
Did you ever read that Flintstones comic book?
Yes.
That's like dark and gritty Flintstones.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's
I think
really
about that all. It's probably actually one of the best comics I've ever read in my life. I think about it all the time.
Yeah, there's like a short story in the middle of one of them where I think it's the armadillo bowling ball is in love with vacuum cleaner or something like that, and they have to replace the broken vacuum cleaner, so they take his love away, and it's like truly sad to read this, like what should be a very silly Flintstones comic.
And also, like, the Great Gazoo shows up. He's like disappointed in the Flintstones. That stands out to me too.
Yeah, there's also some good Snagglepuss ones from the same writer, I believe.
Yes.
So before we get out of here, we should probably let people know where they can find us. Let's just say maybe the podcasts, like where you can follow the podcasts. For Kermitment, you can find us on Instagram at KermitmentPod or on Blue Sky at Kermitment.com.
And we're on Instagram at Muppeturgy and on Blue Sky at Muppeturgy.com.
Tune in next time when we ask the question, why did you tune in this time?
Thanks for listening to this episode of Kermitmenturgy. Tune in to Muppeturgy next time for some actual Muppet discussion.
Well, and next time on Kermitment, we'll be right in the middle of seasons of Muppet Babies and Ghost of Fafnir Hall. So our next episode will be discussing one of those. We're recording this a little in advance, so...
Either way, we're going to be having a bad time.
Yeah. We won't be enjoying ourselves next time.
Have you started watching Fafnir Hall yet?
No. We're drawing it out as long as possible.
Yourself.
Yeah. But I need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song.
And our theme music was composed and performed by Christy Bauer. Our show logo was created by Todd Bryan Backus. And this episode was edited by me, David Levy.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.
Who are Philo and Gunge?
They're
from Fraggle Rock characters.
The two little guys from Fraggle Rock. Yeah.
They're visually
reminiscent. So I don't lose my cred. They're
okay.
the trash heaps little.
Yeah, the
little
trash
dudes?
heaps.
Okay, I don't think I ever knew their names, even when I was a child.